want to have the ball is reigning player of the year in the Atlantic 10, John Axel Goodmanson.
Yeah, he's reigning for a reason. This guy is a go-to player, best all-around player, gets to the rim, he can shoot with range, loves to mix it up on the glass, and Mike, he will have the ball all night long, but he's got to make the right pass to the right open man.
And how about the way that he's picked it up as of late? It was a little bit of a slow start to the season for him, but there was good reason for that.
Oh, absolutely. Davidson had a couple of star plays, and Pritchett and Frampton leave the team at the same time. And the next day, this guy with the basketball had 2 bullseyes on his back. Now he's figured it out, and is playing really well the last 5 to 6 games.
Got it knocked out of his hands into Luka Brankovic, and it's a steal for VCU. This is Van.
Hey, what's up? It's Jenkins starting forward here at VCU. At point guard, we got Marcus Evans, a.k.a. 757 Finals. At 2, we got Isaac Van, a.k.a. IV, Bridgeport Finals. At 4-man, we got Corey Douglas, a.k.a. WAP. And at 5, we got the big man down low, Marcus Santos Silva.
There's your starting 5 for VCU tonight, and here is Jenkins. Just announced all that for us. Evans.
I love what you've done with those starting lines, Mike. That's a Mike Corey original, folks. Jenkins did a great job. He's taking your job next year.
He was good. Here he is now on the pull-up. And there's going to be a foul on the rebound. It'll be on VCU. And it's Corey Douglas.
Well, Jenkins is the one guy on this VCU team, Mike, that can get his shot. But most importantly for the guys in red tonight, they have to do exactly what they just did. Box out. Rebounding is the #1 key. Protect the basketball when you play. VCU is overlaying everybody. But Bob McKillop knows, I have to compete on the glass tonight or we're in trouble.
Here's Kellen Brady. Double team quickly on him, and that's going to force a turnover. Jenkins. And now Van on the floater. First basket tonight. It's Isaac Van.
Yeah, perfect example. There's places on the court, Michael, you do not want to get to. And at the half court, just past the half court, here comes that double team.
And they do not get it over. I was looking right at the clock and not in time. That's a 10-second violation. Mark 3 possessions for Davidson, 3 turnovers.
Oh, you could not have started any better for VCU. Forcing the ball over that half-court line into the corner and then clamping down for Mike Rhodes. That's the VCU Havoc defense.
Marcus Evans. It's a Marcus Santos Silva. Not there, rebound Brankovic. And let's get to the Davidson starting 5 here tonight.
Hi, jeg heter Jonas Grimmerson. Vinnarnes mig for det Davidson College fra Grindag, Iceland. Joining me in the backcourt will be number 31, Kellen Brady from Boston, Massachusetts. Number 24, Cotton Collins from Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And in the front court, there will be Mike Jones from Woodbury, Minnesota, and number 35, Big Pistol, Luka Brankovic from Frankfurt, Austria.
And thank you, John Axel Goodmanson out of Iceland for the intro tonight. 2 minutes gone by, and it's still a 2-0 lead for VCU as Evans gets it in for Santos Silva.
Yeah, and it's the second time they've made sure that Santos Silva has gotten a touch in the paint. I think that's huge tonight because he has the advantage down in that paint.
Evans, and it's knocked out of bounds by VCU.
And it's interesting, I see the strategy by Coach Rhodes on defense. Try to get the ball out of John Axel Goodmanson's hands as much as possible. You can see, folks, he is the glue. He's going to have the basketball, but if they can get out of his hands, Mike, and not let it come back, VCU is going to feel very comfortable on the defensive end. And that's just like double team him, get it out of his hands. Now Marcus Evans, don't let it get back into his hands.
Mike Jones for Davidson, pass intercepted Jenkins.
Wrong guy, not comfortable with the basketball, not used to making the offensive play like a point guard, ends up a turnover.
Santos Silva spinning on Brankovic and not there. Rebound by Goodmanson, and that got knocked out of his hands.
Relentless. That's the word you hear at every shoot-around when you go against VCU Rams. You have to know where they are and always protect the basketball.
fouled. Well, Mike Rhodes here at VCU, the job that he's done as a former assistant, now the head coach, and it's always great talking to him. I mean, I think what I liked most of what he said to us last week is that he's really going to just kind of evaluate and talk to every single person that's involved in VCU basketball at the end of the season, and really just trying to figure out, are there things that we can do better? Let's reevaluate everything. I think it's great.
Absolutely, no doubt. He's building a great program here in Richmond.
Bob McKillop in his 950th game as coach here tonight, 31st season at Davidson. 5th longest tenured coach in the country, and his group had a slow start, but they've picked it up here as of late.
Well, he doesn't look too concerned right now. He's committed 5 turnovers, but has not given up any points off of those turnovers as of yet.
They're looking for their first points here tonight is Davidson. John Axel Goodmanson gets by Evans. There's going to be a foul.
There is really 2 guys on this Davidson squad that you have to keep the ball out of their hands. Axel Goodmanson finds Kellen Grady as often as he can for Bob McKillop. Everyone else is trying to catch up with the departure of Pritchett and Luke Frampton, and they're catching on quickly, but that's a great strategy VCU has in the first half early on.
Goodmanson knocked out of his hands. Jenkins, he's been all over the place here early.
Well, he started with the point guard who's 6 feet tall at Marcus Evans, and he ends up with Jenkins at 6'8".
Santos Silva, no, and Goodmanson the rebound. How many times does he get in there for rebounds? He's their leading rebounder, John Axel.
And interestingly enough, everyone is looking for the kick-out, 3-point shot. You notice that? No offensive rebounding whatsoever if he misses the shot.
Brajkovic, and finally, first basket for Davidson tonight.
Brajkovic is the wild card. He used to be, last year, Mike, he was the 5th option. Now he's that 3rd option, and that's the first time he touched the basketball. He can play aggressive on the offensive side as well.
If you're Davidson, they got 5 turnovers, but they're only down by 2 here early going. They got 6 turnovers.
There it is. The inside out. Just get touches, and then Santos Silva will find you if you're open.
Evans, the floater, got it. They honored him before the game tonight with a game ball from scoring his 2000th career point a couple games ago, and he scores that one there.
Includes his games at Rice University playing for Coach Rhodes. He's the floor general on the court. Safe to say, Mike, when he plays well, the Rams play well.
3 substitutions, or players ready to come in for VCU with the next whistle. Goodmanson knocked out of his hands yet again. Jenkins.
I don't think he needed to go to the opposite side. It was a nice little Euro step, just finished in front of at the rim.
5.5 gone by.
If Davidson can knock down a bucket here, they've got to be feeling really good going into this first time out.
Exactly. Foul going to be on Sims. And it will take us to our first break.
7 turnovers in the first 5.5 minutes. They average 11 a game, does Davidson, Mike, but they're still in the game. So no real harm has been done. But boy, it's hard to mimic this defense in practice, folks. They just come and come and come. 11, 12 guys all day, all night.
No, they really do. You have to try to weather the storm here for sure. As we said, 148th consecutive sellout at this place, over 7,600 fans. It's such a great environment. And when I talked to Coach Bob McKillop about it too on the other side for Davidson, he said this is why you play, college basketball, to come to and play in environments like this here tonight.
Always March Madness on the campus of VCU, and it is unbelievable. I mean, if you're a young player out there right now, you're looking to decide where you want to play in the A-10. Well, every game, 148 consecutive sellouts is just like this. It's nuts.
7,637 as Jenkins tries to get them to their feet, and he's fouled on his way to the hole. Mike Jones with his first for Davidson.
Always active. You can't put a lot of air on the ball. You got to make crisp passes. Jenkins, one of the longer, if not the longest defender for the VCU Rams. And I'm telling you, Mike, a lot like yourself, he has one thing in mind: get to the rim when I have the basketball.
No, usually I'm trying to shoot the 3. I should try to just take it to the rim more, though. Jenkins.
You know, it's interesting. We talked to Coach Rhodes. Get to the paint. That has been a theme. Get to the paint tonight rather, with the touches to Santos Silva or off of these deflections, because the efficiency of his offense goes up if they get to the paint, what, Mike, one time?
Well, it does. And we talked to him last week. We had VCU in our Friday night game last week at Rhode Island. They didn't seem to do that because they went down by 29 points in that ball.
Well, Rhode Island did an excellent job of actually putting the pressure right back on VCU. That's Russell. I mean, you talk about the guy who you do not want your hands. Oh, he just had a great job. And what did we talk about last week, north and south? John Axel Goodmanson needs to keep the basketball in the center of the court. Every time he goes side to side and you let those sidelines get involved as a second or third defender, bad things happen.
Keyshawn Curry and Malik Crowfield are in, and this is Curry who throws it down for the Rams. And Bob McKillop and Davidson, they've seen enough. Timeout. 10-2 lead for VCU. 14:04 to play, first half. Timeout was just taken by Davidson. It's been tough, first off, getting the ball up the court, and then even getting a good look at the basket here for them.
Well, what do we talk about? Get the ball in the wrong guy's hands. The freshman Lee's not used to playing with the basketball. Grady is. Axel Goodmanson is. And what does VCU do? Take it away from those guys. Quick turnover, quick dunk.
Bates Jones now. Tries to feed the cutter and gets it to John Axel Goodmanson. And a fight for it. It stays with Davidson.
You know, Mike, you weathered the storm. When you're playing VCU, you weathered the storm. And it's 10-2, and Davidson is still in this ball game. There's all types of time left for Bob McKillop and the Wildcats. But you've got to learn, here they're coming at me. On our end, let's do what we do best. Let's move without the basketball and create that backdoor cut, create some easy shots and get back into this first half.
Coming off the screen, Carter Collins. Collins, tough one. Rebound pulled home by Corey Douglas.
How about that team defense? 3 white uniforms converging.
Bones Highland misses on the 3 for VCU. Grady the rebound. Kellen Grady on the crossover. And they just can't get anything to fall right now as Sims saves it from going out.
They just come at you in waves. Very impressive, especially on the glass. On that defensive glass, Davidson's hustling back to protect against the offensive transition. And boy, VCU's doing an outstanding job attacking the basketball in the paint.
And this is going to go against VCU here, though. And a foul away from the ball. It's on Malik Crowfield, his first. What can you do here to try to get this ball up the court, get through this pressure, and try to get set up in your half-court offense?
Quickly get seniors on your team from the stands. No, keep the ball in this man's hands, Axel Goodmanson, because you can see they're backing up, but they're going to come at him once a high ball screen comes. So maybe don't high ball screen and just let him activate.
You like the game plan. I mean, they are just saying, fine, he is not going to beat us tonight. Who else is? And so far, you know, nobody. Maybe Grady here for 3, but that's off and rebounded by Bones Highland.
That was maybe the best look Davidson has had all evening.
Crowfield misses a 3. Sims the rebound. Highland for 3. Count it. Bones Highland for the Rams. 13-2. It's a 9-0 run.
Easiest shot in basketball. Inside out, hit to 3. Either off the pass from the post, Mike, or a long rebound off the miss. 3-point shot.
This is Hyunjun Lee, who's in for the first time tonight. Freshman from South Korea. And that is going to be an offensive. 13-2 here. VCU leads Davidson. 11:46 to go first half. And it's an understatement that points are tough to come by right now for the Davidson Wildcats. As we head on over to the sideline where Mark Plansky is hanging out now for a little bit with VCU head coach Mike Rhodes. Mark.
I had to chase them down, guys. Coach, I'm assuming you like what you see, especially on the defensive end.
We're active. We're playing really hard today, and we active hands today against a really good passing team. So this is how we got to be all the time.
I love it here, Coach. I want to play. I have no eligibility left.
Look at this. A Friday night, black and gold everywhere. We got great fans. We got great support. What a great place to be a basketball player.
What makes this place so special? This is March Madness.
The people, the administrators, the leaders, everybody.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
That's great. Thanks to Coach Rhodes for joining us. Brajkovic called for the foul for Davidson as Curry went to the hole for VCU.
Hey, Mike, I'm just going to hang out over here, Mike.
Yeah, you look very comfortable there down at the end of the bench, right? It's a familiar spot for you?
You mean there's another end of the bench? I thought this was the only end of the bench. I'm very comfortable down here.
All right, so Blansky's over on the VCU bench. What's it like over there? What do you recognize first and foremost?
Well, first of all, I got to give my man a pound, which is great. I love the team unity and the family-like atmosphere on the side of this court. And it's just louder over here, Mike, than it is over there. I mean, this group is outstanding behind us.
In some arenas, where you're sitting is actually where the team bench starts these days.
It's a great angle to watch a game, too. You can really see the pressing trap right there. I think they got away with that one. He just didn't quite move his feet enough. But, again, John Axel Goodmanson, Mike, is going to be worn down with this pressure for 40 minutes.
I'm just amazed at how tough it is even just to get a shot off right now for Davidson. I mean, 2 points here, Mark, throughout 9 minutes.
Got him.
Seeing this familiar sight, a double team on him. Grady for 3, finally. And just a second made field goal for Davidson. A triple for Kellen Grady.
Hey, Mike, that's why you keep the ball in Axel Goodmanson's hands. You see how patient he was with that trap? Stepped through it and found a wide open Grady. He's a great shooter from the corner.
Traveling violation.
Mike, right here is where he hit the 3 just now. That's where you knocked down 4 out of 5 at shoot-around.
How about this double team pressure on Goodmanson? Doesn't seem like they're going to let that up at all tonight. It's worked well for VCU. Grady on the spin. Yes.
Well, that's a little bit of the Kellen Grady, everybody down at Davidson's used to playing. It's amazing when you knock one shot in, how comfortable you get as an offensive player.
Nelson Bochi-Edom on the rebound for Davidson. Maybe finally they could settle it a little bit here now, down by 8 with the ball.
That's a good call. They got Santos Silva moving Big Luka out of the paint. You know, Mike, I think I'm getting out-styled here with this guy next to me. They're wearing a very nice suit. I mean, not as nice as yours. Look at this guy. He's the next guy on TV.
Do you hear a lot of talking on the bench of the players? What are they? Do you catch anything down there, or are they just pretty much dialed in?
Well, these guys they're paying too much attention to the game. They don't want to have any attention down here, Mike. You know, I can speak, right? I can speak as. Yeah, he knows, because this is where I was during my games, and if I said anything, I ended up in the locker room.
Curry the rebound. 6-0 run, though, right now for Davidson, as they were down 15-2. Curry on the stutter step. Too strong.
Look how 2 guys in white jerseys just getting to Axel Goodmanson as soon as he can.
Hyunjun Lee, and that's a 3-ball.
When you trap Goodmanson, Mike, you've got to recover, and nobody found Lee, and he is a very talented freshman. He can make that 3.
And a quick shot from VCU and Marcus Santos Silva, but there's a foul. It's a 9-0 run by Davidson.
Coach McKillop might want me to stay over here the whole game, Mike. You might be lonely over there.
It's worked out for him, right?
It's the last time we have Coach Rhodes on TV, I'll tell you that.
How about Hyunjun Lee getting free for that 3-pointer on the last possession?
Well, again, that's not only being in the right place at the right time, but you have to give Luka good amount of their credit by not rushing. He had the ball in the paint, Mike, and he could have easily taken a forced shot, and Lee found that open passing angle and alley and stepped right in and knocked it down.
16 points for Lee, the rookie of the week in the Atlantic 10 in this past Monday. Vince Williams, and blocked by Bochiyedem for Davidson.
Got to be careful against VCU. The one thing you don't want to do is retreat.
Lee again, basket and a foul. And Hyunjun Lee from John Axel Goodmanson. And all of a sudden, Davidson is within 2.
Collins decided, where is my man Axel Goodmanson? Let me get him the ball. His eyes are up. Found the cutting Lee, who's now playing with a little more confidence after knocking that 3 down. And just an excellent execution on the transition side.
Well, how fast did this turn around? It was all VCU looking like they were about to go on the route here tonight, and it's a 1-point ball game. Davidson down by just 1 now, 15-14.
And even though Axel Goodmanson didn't score any points, his hands have been all over that basketball.
And Santos Silva finally lays it in for the Rams, stopping an 11-0 run.
Yeah, Davidson doesn't have an answer for that, Mike. He can control the paint on the offensive end. I just keep giving him touches in the paint.
That's his first basket tonight. Ball was tipped, and then Bates Jones didn't know what to do there as he had to try to grab it, and it's out of bounds. The 11th turnover for Davidson, which is their game average. We're here in the first half.
And what did Coach Rhodes say? Active hands. That's what he was most pleased with in the first 8 minutes, is how active his kids were on the defensive end with their hands in the passing lanes.
Evans three-pointer, and that's off. Rebounded by John Axel Goodmanson. It's a 12-3 run here, Mark, with you on the bench for Davidson.
Come on, man. I got my cool socks on. I'm across my legs. Just enjoying the game.
A chance to tie with Hyunjun Lee, and that's off. Rebound Jenkins. Isaac Van for 3. Big one. Coach McKillop not happy with the closeout there by the Wildcats.
Well, the other thing, Mike, is you can't press unless you make baskets. Now that they knocked one down, they get back into that full court pressure.
That's a good point. John Axel Goodmanson for 3. Another crack on the offensive end. Bates Jones spinning. And Vince Williams. And that was behind Jenkins, and he lost it out of bounds. Timeout with 7:10 to go in this first half. The other point you made, too, VCU wasn't hitting shots, so they weren't able to press, and Davidson was able to get on a little bit of a run. You know, if anything, that kind of pressure just takes you out of your game and stops your ability to put back-to-back possessions together.
Well, on defense, when you play in front of a home crowd that supplies so much energy as the Siegel Center, it's easy to come out in the first 5 to 10 minutes. You have to sustain it, and that's what Coach Rhodes and I were talking about earlier. If you sustain it, you usually win.
Jenkins on the steal.
Get the ball into number 3's hands. No offense to Collins. You're not used to playing point guard. Definitely not against this type of pressure.
That is now 12 points off 12 Davidson turnovers tonight. Wildcats started 1 for 7. They're 4 of 7 since. The lead is up to 8.
Marcus Evans has decided, I'm denying Axel Goodmanson. You are not going to get the ball back. We're going to let you guys beat us 4-on-4.
Brajkovic. Shot clock violation. There's a lot of Brajkovic's shoulders right now. Kind of the lone big guy that teams are aware of and they're going to key on in his second season.
You know, unlike Corey Douglas and Santos Silva, natural athletes, big bodies, great physicality. You know, he's a typical European basketball player. He's had loads of skill. He's still building up that frame.
Sophomore from Austria. Number 35 for the Wildcats in red. Corey Douglas. And Brajkovic was able to help redirect it. Here's John Axel Goodmanson.
I like the touches in the paint by VCU. A steady diet will probably win the evening.
Brajkovic got hit. Good job to thread the needle there from Goodmanson.
You have to ask yourself, if you're John Axel Goodmanson, can you play 40 minutes against this pressure with the ball in your hands the whole time? So far, he's doing a great job. A couple of slip-ups. But really, when he's had the basketball, Mike, in this first half, good things are happening for Davidson.
Second foul on Corey Douglas for VCU. 9th team foul. Two-shot foul, though, for Brajkovic. 75% free throw shooter this season. As we remind you this week, our NBA Saturday primetime game tomorrow night, all California affair. LeBron and the Western Conference leading Lakers in San Francisco to take on Draymond Green and the Warriors. Coverage tips off with the Jump at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app.
Unfortunately, Steph, of course, only playing 6 games this year for the Warriors. But how about last year? Remember we were there during All-Star break almost a year ago, and Steph showed up with his new fancy sneakers, and Davidson crowd went ballistic.
Yeah, that was awesome. Here's Evans, who puts up a 3.
You know, Mike, Marcus Evans' job tonight has been denied John Axel Goodmanson. When you play that type of defense and you're with that much intensity, when it's offense time, it's fun time.
And that's how fast things can turn on you here. And now it's a 10-2 run for VCU. Ball was tipped, so Goodmanson able to put it back on the court. And on the dribble and the rebound here is Evans off the missed shot from Jones.
Mike Jones is a catch-and-shoot three-point player. But VCU, Mike, is going to run at you. Just show a little leather and get it to the hoop.
Doesn't go for Santos Silva. What about the season that Kellen Grady has had here so far for Davidson, 31?
You know, he's the other guy with the bullseye on his back. You know, the scouting report, it's John Axel Goodman and Grady. Don't let him touch the ball.
Brajkovic, surprised nobody was there, and he lays it in.
Because they were double-teaming the ball, John Axel Goodman, and they ran to Kellen Grady. That's how badly they don't want these two guys to have the basketball in their hands.
He was ready to go to work on a post move with the guy behind him, and he's like, wait a minute, this is already here. Evans for 3 again. Does it again. Marcus Evans.
Before the game, he was awarded the basketball for scoring 2,000 career points. Here it comes, double team. Defense leads to offense.
How many times has Dariante Jenkins done that so far tonight? Another steal and a bucket for him.
Great anticipation, great length, and of course he's the veteran. He's the senior. He knows how to rotate on this defense.
He's got 5 steals already in this first half with 6 points.
3 of them have been right in front of us. That's just anticipation.
Grady with 3 to shoot from beyond NBA range, and it's put up there by Collins, but he couldn't make it. And that was before the shot clock was about to expire. 12-point lead for VCU. Those 2 threes by Evans were killers, and now he is fouled and is going to head to the line for 2 when we come back.
That's VCU defense.
Well, VCU averages 8.2 steals a game. They've already got 10 tonight, and those are the numbers that you just mentioned right there as well. Jenkins leading the way in the category of the steals, and overall for the season, he's got 48, a team high.
I told Coach Rhodes before we grabbed him, he knows how I had to go grab him. He was so focused on the timeout. I said, I could never play for you on this defense. I mean, where would I be? He said, I put you in the back. I would never let you play defense other than in the paint. I went, I could do that. I can do that.
You've been able to play all positions, though. You're very versatile, right? What about your career, right? I remember you told me a story. You played all different positions.
Yeah, I actually played point guard in one game at the Spectrum on national TV against Georgetown. That did not end up well. Hey, folks, Georgetown's pressure was worse than VCU's in the 80s. And let's just say, remember how Magic Johnson used to put his back fortune to the guy coming in? I reinvented that strategy. Didn't end up well for the Wildcats that night, Mike.
He's still Villanova national champion Mark Plansky. Mike Corey with you here tonight from Richmond, Virginia. This Friday night Atlantic 10 matchup. As VCU trying to go to 7-3 in the league this game here tonight versus Davidson as Kellen Brady is fouled. It's a big one, though, for the Rams, right? They're trying to solidify that position in the NCAA tournament. In the field right now. We'll talk to Joe Lenardi coming up a little bit later on, but...
No, absolutely. We did the game last Friday, the URI game, the last game VCU played, and Coach Rhodes not happy with the first 10 minutes or the whole first half of that game. And, you know, credit Fats Russell and Jeff Doughton, the backcourt of URI, really pressuring, taking the pressure to the VCU defense.
Tomorrow night, it's UFC 247 in Houston. Lightweight champ John Bones Jones makes his 11th title defense against undefeated Dominic the Devastator Reyes in the main event on pay-per-view at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific. To order the main card in English and Spanish, go to ESPNplus.com/PPV.
You know, Mike, 10 VCU Rams have played in the first 17 minutes. That's why they have active hands. Everyone's got fresh legs.
Well, you recruit players for this team, and you know when you're out there, you better go full on out because they are going to rotate a lot of guys. And that's how they do it. That's how they've done it for years.
Davidson plays man-to-man defense. A lot different style. They'll pressure the ball, and then the four others will play help defense. But, Mike, I wouldn't be surprised if Bob McKillop goes to a zone just to try to give their players a little rest on defense.
John Axel Goodmanson on the steal. Feeds the cutter. Bochi Edom knocked out of bounds, and it's VCU ball.
Maybe the first time all night he's made a poor decision. That was one that you just want to make a little fake and take it right to the front of the rim. He knows he messed up on that one, and that will not happen again. He's a very proud player.
Well, he's got more turnovers than the entire VCU team tonight by himself, and that is unlike John Axel Goodmanson. He's got 5, and VCU has 4 as a team.
VCU's dumped the ball down low a lot and knocked down threes a lot. So if you're taking shots in the paint and shots from 3, you're not going to have a lot of turnovers.
Jenkins is having a night on the defense and the offensive end, and it's the largest lead of the game. Jenkins with 9. 15-point advantage under 2 minutes to go first half.
Mike, isn't it amazing when you turn the calendar to February, seniors in a highly competitive team, it's a whole different ball game. You've got 10 games left in your year. They play relentlessly.
No doubt. As Jenkins runs the other way, he's going to stop and pop for 3. And rebounded by John Axel Goodmanson. That caught a moment of the pregame interview with Mike Rhodes for the radio, and he said, yeah, I'm excited to be playing meaningful and exciting games here in February against good competition, and that's what it's going to be like for the Rams down the stretch.
But they have a great home court advantage, as we can see here this evening. What Coach Rhodes has to do is take advantage of that tough schedule. They have winnable games against tough teams. Win on the road, help them get in the bubble instead of outside of the bubble.
Coming up at the half on the E-Trade halftime report, Kevin Connors, Dallin Cuff, Sean Farnham. They'll be in the studio with our matchups for tomorrow, key games. And, of course, Duke, UNC, a preview of that. And the top 16 rankings coming out from the NCAA committee. But we're going to get the top 16 rankings from our Joe Lenardi coming up early in the second half, and he is always spot on. So if you want a little bit of a preview of what that might be, just stay tuned to the second half with Joe Lenardi.
His history is unbelievable, how accurate he has been on the teams that get in on Selection Sunday. A sneak preview of Joey Brackett's top 16. Cannot wait to see those.
We'll talk about the Atlantic 10 with him, of course. There's also games to watch tomorrow. Like, what are some of the key matchups, according to him, for your Saturday college basketball slate? And, of course, we'll find out what his top-ranked teams are and his top 16 as well.
You know, it's funny. UNC Duke never disappoints. I mean, you mentioned earlier the incredible 50 wins, 50 losses in the 100 games they've played. This is the first time, long time, that Carolina's had double-digit losses and a double-digit underdog at home. It's going to be interesting to see how they play that one.
Marcus Santos Silva fighting hard, and it's rebounded by Brankovic. Under a minute to go here in the first half. Well, you had the big run from VCU to start the game. Double-digit advantage. Davidson came storming back and were within 1, but now find themselves trailing by the largest margin, and it's a turnover, and halftime really can't come quick enough, for the Wildcats right now.
John Axel Goodmanson thought he got bumped to the ground. He was a little off balance with that double team. And hey, John Axel Goodmanson, you're not going to get Ted Valentine to turn his call over. After 39 years of reffing, just get up and get on defense.
Season low for first half points this year for Davidson was 21 versus Duquesne, and in a half all season was 20 against Temple in the second half. They've got 20 here tonight. And with 17 seconds to go, VCU has it. Evans, 5 to shoot for 3. And 7 seconds to go. Davidson.
Get to the rim. Don't settle. Get to the rim, then get to the foul line.
Not going to do that. Instead, it's going to be a three-pointer that got blocked. And that's the end of the first half. VCU, so tough, especially here at home. They got a 50-point halftime advantage. There you go with the numbers. 20 points off the turnovers, or the average in tonight's 17, so it's pretty darn good from the first half. Jenkins with 5 steals ties a career high. How about on the other side for John Axel Goodmanson? 6 turnovers ties a season high for him. It's kind of unlike the rating player of the year in the Atlantic 10, and VCU as a team only has 4 turnovers, so they've held on to the ball.
So the 2 stats about John Axel Goodmanson that jump out: 20 minutes, played every minute, and 0 for. He's 0 for Friday from the floor and from threes, and that is nothing other than the constant, relentless pressure that he is seeing. 1, 2, and at times 3 Rams on him to get that ball out of his hands.
How about this other stat? Davidson's actually leading the rebounding advantage 20 to 15. How is that possible?
Well, early on, the Rams missed some shots. You know, Davidson got the rebounds. But, Mike, when you're throwing the ball away, you're not throwing the ball to the rim, so there's no rebounds to get.
Carter Collins for Davidson.
Just keep your eyes on number 2 in white. He is all over this guy, John Axel Goodmanson.
Brajkovic is blocked inside by Corey Douglas.
In years past, there'd be an extra pass from the Davidson Wildcat when he caught that. That's just being a sophomore against pressure.
Jenkins a little short on the runner. Well, and somebody else has to step up and command some defensive attention, right, for Davidson. We know about the knowns with Grady and John Axel Goodmanson, but who else is going to say, all right, I'm going to have a good night tonight?
So much easier said than done. Kellen Grady is the guy that has to do it. He's the most qualified to do it. The rest of these guys have never seen pressure like this. You cannot replicate this pressure in practice on your home court in practice at Davidson, because you have walk-ons and managers trying to create the same havoc that Coach Rhodes has his Rams creating this evening.
Is this comment another kind of easier said than done one? But how come they're not moving the ball faster? Just move it, pass it, pass it, pass it. Just kind of get the defense rotating, no?
No, that's a great question, because the hands are so active. What VCU does is relentless ball pressure. That's the cornerstone of the havoc. Just cornerstone of the havoc. Just get up on the ball. Well, Mike, when that happens, you don't see the passing lanes. It takes an extra half a second and a second, and then here comes the next defender jumping into that passing lane for the steal. Now, another is this a dumb question is, are you going to buy dinner tonight? But we all know that is much easier said than done.
Well, we'll see about that. Santos Silva.
Steady diet of hit the paint, whether it was Douglas or Santos Silva, that is going to wear you down on the offensive end.
That is a blocking foul on VCU. Marcus Santos Silva tried to take the charge, picks up his second personal.
And that might be the first time all evening we've seen Davidson attack the rim. You know, last week at the URI game, we saw Fats Russell do this every single possession. Get to the rim, right? Because you know the help defense is coming, but let's make the referees make the call.
What did you tell me earlier about Fats Russell, that he goes right down the lane? I mean right at.
Yeah,
right?
I want to take a telestrator and draw a line the length of the court on each elbow. So just the distance, folks, across that foul line. If you want to beat VCU in their pressure, stay in the middle of the court. The moment you stray to the sides and you turn your head, you can only see half the court. Here comes that trap. Here comes the step up. Here comes the rotation. Here comes your turnover.
Yeah, we were talking about Fats Russell, the outstanding guard for the University of Rhode Island, who's having one special season again this year. They're in second place right now in the Atlantic 10, behind the Dayton Flyers, who are undefeated. And of course, have a Player of the Year candidate there with Obi Toppin. These teams are battling. I mean, there's a logjam right now at the 6-3 mark of teams in the A10, and Davidson, outside of a 4-overtime loss at George Washington, would be right in the same spot at 6-3, so they're just one off that mark.
And VCU has that Dayton team here in the Siegel Center, and that is a huge game. Like, if anybody in A10 can give Dayton their first conference loss, that is enormous for your bracketology specialist like Joe Lenardi, who we're going to talk to shortly.
We will. First points of the night finally for John Axel Goodmanson as Douglas is fouled and Brajkovic picks up his second. There's a look at the standings that we were just talking about. So, I mean, Rhode Island, so impressive right now with what they've done. We know how great Dayton's been this season, but
if for some reason Dayton can stumble at the Barclays Center in the A10 tournament, any of those 6 teams below them can win and get the automatic bid.
Fats Russell has had 20-plus points in 14 games this season. A big reason why Rhode Island is right there in that second-place spot.
Yeah, he has really matured in his junior season. Last year, Dan Hurley took off to coach UConn, and everyone focused in on Fats. This year, he spent the time over the summer in the gym and became a superstar.
Isaac Van, steal and a dunk.
It's almost like when number 3 doesn't have the basketball, everybody in the white jerseys says, I can get a steal. And they have gotten a lot of steals in the backcourt.
Fallon Evans is right up against John Axel Goodmanson.
It's not like Kellen Grady cannot handle the basketball, Mike, but he's just not used to seeing this. And Isaac Van's great. I mean, look, some people might say that's bad reaching defense, but not in this defense. Active hands. If he misses, another defender's going to rotate. No harm done.
Grady off the screen for 3. And a foul is going to be called on VCU.
The VCU defense has pushed out that Davidson offense. It's hard to start their quarter-court offense. And even on that nice screenplay, execution was excellent, but Grady was 3 feet behind the three-point line, Mike, and fading even further.
Marcus Santos Silva with his 3rd personal foul, so he goes out. Mikael Sims is in for VCU.
That's when Collins has to be ready to catch and shoot. That might have been the best look they're going to have against his defense.
Brajkovic trying to field Douglas, goes baseline and scores it.
Everybody was covering the three-point line, didn't want to have the inside out. Brajkovic, nice little hip move. You know, get the guy in your back and use and spin.
And now they make a play on the defensive end.
Good things happen, Mike, when you get the ball into the paint.
Which John Axel Goodmanson is trying to do. Got it knocked away, kicks it out. Carter Collins for 3. They could have used that for sure. And here's Dariante Jenkins.
And Collins didn't step into that with confidence. Kind of caught and fell backwards. And when you fall backwards, often you're going to overcompensate and miss it long.
There's Van. Inside, Douglas. That's up.
Davidson tried a little trap on their own, and when you roll on a high ball screen and go right to the rim with the athleticism of Douglas, excellent execution by VCU.
Coming up on 4 minutes gone by, second half. Tough shot there for John Axel. Open for the 3, Sims not there, and it's rebounded by Davidson. Mike Jones clears it out. And Grady's going to be fouled by Isaac Van. That's his 3rd, and we've got a timeout. When we return, Joe Lenardi joins us. Back in Richmond, it's 43-25, VCU over Davidson. Mike Corey with Mark Plansky, and now our Joe Lenardi joins us with some bracketology here. Joe, great to have you with us as always on this Friday night. We're popping up the teams in the Atlantic 10 right now with Dayton, Rhode Island, and VCU. I know VCU, I think it's a tournament team. I mean, what about you with what you're seeing right now out of the Rams?
If you look right at the cut line of the at-large field, guys, there are 8 teams that are virtually identical with all the indexes that we use, VCU among them. I have them just out as we're speaking, but it's so close that when we wake up in the morning, if they hang on and win like this tonight, they'll be back in.
Hey, the NCAA committee is going to reveal their top 16. How about a sneak preview of Joey Lunardi's top 16?
I think we know who the top 4 teams are, Mark. The number 1 seeds have been pretty stable now for 3 or 4 weeks. The 2 from the Big 12, Baylor and Kansas, of course. And then the 2 from the West Coast, oddly neither from the Pac-12, San Diego State and Gonzaga. The Zags, of course, eclipsed as the number 1 team in the polls by Baylor a couple of weeks ago. And we'll see the Zags tomorrow night at St. Mary's, a game that could get them back in the West region if all goes well. But the rest fall pretty well. Dayton certainly a team that we've talked about a lot, particularly on these Friday night contests. And they're headed to VCU, as you mentioned, next week. But they've earned that spot. You know, people go, hey, Dayton, you know, Atlantic 10. No question about their resume or the eye test when it comes to the Flyers.
100% agree with you, Joe. I mean, their 2 losses have both been in overtime, 1 versus Kansas. Now, I'm looking at that top 4 there. Enlighten us a little bit on the San Diego State, okay? The only remaining undefeated team in the nation. How much have you seen them? And has a big throwdown dunk here from Hassan Ward for VCU. How much have you seen San Diego State? And what would fans who are looking at them saying, well, how good are they? You know, what would you see them doing in the postseason?
I think the more recent comparables, a couple of years ago we had Wichita State, which ran the table in the Missouri Valley Conference and got a 1 seed. They had just come off the Final Four in that similar period of years. And a decade before that, you know, everybody was talking about St. Joseph's undefeated. Hey, what would happen if they were in the ACC or they were in the such and such a league? Well, the real fact of the matter is, if you're in a league that's a multi-bid league and you're winning all your games on the road, you have to be good because road teams lose 30% of the time. It's very, very hard to go unbeaten in your conference. Dayton's doing it right now. Winthrop, a couple others, and of course, San Diego State. They have some very good wins. They don't have great wins, but I think if you watch them, particularly on your road at places like New Mexico, where a week ago they just blasted the Lobos at the pit, you'll see that they're very worthy of the accolades they're getting.
All right, Joe, last thing for you. We know about the Duke-UNC matchup. We'll all be watching that tomorrow, of course. Give us something else to keep an eye on, a matchup that you like for a big college basketball day tomorrow on Saturday.
Well, we'll go to the top of the bracket, near the top, with Auburn playing LSU for first in the SEC. LSU, one of those teams that's unbeaten in conference play to this point. And then a little further down the bracket, 2 of our teams just in on the right side of the bubble, but teetering. Purdue, Indiana, a great rivalry game. And I'll give you one more matchup, the one I've done the most research. Mike, no way Plansky pays for dinner. I've checked. He is undefeated at that.
We had a 4-way split last weekend, actually, Joe. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you soon. We're going to take a break. We'll be back to Richmond after this.
I mean, credit VCU for sticking to that game plan. And John Axel Goodmanson, last year's A-10 Player of the Year, averaging 21 in the last 8 games, 2 points, 1 for 7. That is fatigue versus this relentless pressure.
No, that's a great point. It's such a struggle for him tonight. But I mean, and the thing is, too, when you talk to members of their program, that they said, I mean, their record is just so much better when he ends up being their leading scorer. I mean, he's like the second leading scorer right now behind this guy, Kellen Grady, who just missed on a 3. But it's when John Axel's having a good night, they're successful. And here you go, down by 13.
Which is exactly why Coach Rhodes said we're not going to let him have a good night. Simply said, take the ball out of his hands. We'll lose 4 on 4. So far, the strategy is working.
Grady can't get it to go. Grady's got 8 total points tonight. Trying to pick up a little bit of the slack, but it's been tough sledding.
Well, he's the guy off the ball that VCU is finding. When they pressure Axel Goodmanson on the ball, first, don't let number 31 in red get that first pass. Let someone else get it. And it really, Coach McGillip is saying, I'm really playing 3-on-5 on the offensive end because they're taking my studs out of the game.
What about what happened when they got on that run earlier in the first half? They were on an 11-12 nothing run themselves, Davidson.
They had a little bit of keep the ball in Goodmanson's hands, and he wasn't looking for the shot. He was looking for the pass, and VCU missed covering Kellen Grady one time only, and then the other guys contributed.
3 in the corner from Vince Williams. No, and Highland, he thought about it for a moment. The shot clock's at 2, and that's off. There's going to be a foul. On the rebound, it's going to be on Davidson. Tough one there on Nelson Bochiito, the second.
Boy, that is a touchy foul. Shot clock is running always. VCU is attacking the offensive glass. He just boxed out, but he never turned his back to box out. He used his forearms, got cut underneath by the referee.
Van. Highland on the stutter step, and the floater's good. This guy's going to be special. He already is. Bones Highland, freshman out of Wilmington, Delaware.
Well, it's the second time they've run a high ball screen for Bones. First time he threw an alley-oop. Second time they went back to defend the alley-oop. Excellent floater.
He was recruited by a lot of high-level programs, and said VCU was one of the first and really kind of showed a lot of interest in him, and they stuck with him, and he wanted to come here. And now he outlets to Van, and now in the corner 3, Crowfield.
From half court to the baseline, underneath the basket, a quick kick out, everything but the conversion.
And the other thing with Davidson is they're not getting like these places backdoor cuts and these looks and the cutters to the basket. Got to credit VCU on the defense in that regard too.
And VCU only has 7 fouls. 7 total fouls. And that's what happens when you come after pressure defense. The referees can't call a foul on every possession, so they have a tendency to not blow the whistle.
That is an offensive. And it's on Vince Williams, his second. And we'll step aside. Just under 11 minutes left in this one. Rams with a 15-point advantage. Back in 2004 when Jeff Capel had taken over, and then there was a 7 straight years from 2011 to 2017. They missed in 18. Mike Rhodes' first season, went back last year. I mean, just some of the names, too, are amazing when you think about it, right?
Well, in that second year, Coach Shaka Smart, as they say back home in our neck of the woods in New England, you know, they had big shot Brad Burgess. You know, that team lost to Butler in the semifinal game, and Butler should have won the whole thing.
Right. Remember names like Larry Sanders back in the day was just a dominant force, and then Eric Maynard, the outstanding guard that I remember sitting over the Richmond Marriott in their awards room. That when he was selected to the first team as a freshman, and there was a little bit of a grumble in the room, and then all of a sudden we just saw him go in the tournament and single-handedly beat Duke. Remember that?
Absolutely. He was just a tough in and out.
There was no grumbling after that with his status and ability. Hyunjun Lee for 3. He's fouled. And it's Marcus Santos Silva who's going to pick up his 4th. He's struggling in the foul department tonight. He had 3, went out, comes right back in, and picks up his 4th.
An aggressive closeout. And again, second time tonight, Lee, please show the leather. Santos Silva's flying out at you. He's 6'9", he's 240 pounds. Just show a little leather. Now you've got nobody around you for 10 feet. Now, he got bailed out with the foul and gets to the foul line. But this young freshman's going to learn, if I just show the ball because the scouting report says I love to shoot, I'll get an open shot on the follow.
Fake, 1 dribble left to right, fired up.
Yeah, says the guy who really never pulled that off in my career.
Well, right now, Hyunjun Lee, freshman out of South Korea, he's got 11 of the last 13 points for Davidson. And they're hanging right around here. This is going to be a 10-point game if he hits this last free throw.
And what did Coach McKillop tell us about Lee at shoot-around today? Maybe next to Goodmanson, the highest basketball IQ on the team. Comes from a pretty talented family. Both parents played basketball, and he has a great upside here at Davidson.
We talked to Coach McKillop about his international players. I mean, this is going way back to when he was a coach in high school in Long Island Lutheran. They had international players over there, too. So, I mean, this has been in his blood for, 40 years.
Yeah, but Lee's mom played in the '84 Olympics.
That's right.
Covered Cheryl Miller. I mean, if you can't learn from an outstanding mom like that, and we all know moms teach the best, definitely not the dad.
No doubt, silver medalist from the 1984 Olympic team. It's an 11-2 run right now for Davidson. A chance to cut it to single digits, and Lee can't do it. Got his own rebound for the moment. There's going to be a foul. It's on VCU. Mikel Sims with his second.
He must have been listening. Look at this. Show the ball.
There you go.
And then get right to the rim. He doesn't convert, but how about stick to it to this? He's, it's amazing when you're 18, 19 years old. Once you score a couple of buckets on national TV, Mike, the adrenaline flows.
Well, you like his ability because, he could have faked and taken a shot, but now we saw his ability to drive to the basket. Look at this, 18 points. And he is perfect at the free throw line tonight, making 19 and 6 for 6. That ties a career high for him.
Watching his stroke at shoot around, he's on balance. Folks, check him out at the foul line. He stays up and down like he's shooting in a phone booth. That's the key, because when you don't move, the rim doesn't move. Then it's just sharp shooting.
Well, we were asking who's going to step up tonight for Davidson with John Axel Goodmanson having a rough night, and it's Hyunjoo Lee, the freshman.
Jump into the deep end of the pool. I mean, there's no other way to do it. Learn trials and tribulations.
Goodmanson is out of the game right now as well for Davidson, so this is all happening with him on the bench. Highland feeds it inside, and they can't get the easy one. That was Corey Douglas who missed.
Great conversion on the defensive glass by Davidson as well. One and done for VCU.
Collins feeds Lee, and it's an offensive.
That's okay. Coach McKillop is going to be fine with that. That's Davidson basketball. Press the ball up to the baseline, bring it back, come off a weak side screen, move without the basketball. Again, how about Marcus Evans? You talk about playing help defense, Mike Corey. That's how you do it.
Just in time, got himself outside of the restricted arc and set up camp to take the charge. Lee has scored 14 of the last 16 Davidson points. And that's their 20th turnover of the night. It's a season high. Evans for Douglas. Got it.
That high ball screen is working with Douglas because he's very athletic. Gets right to the front of the rim and challenges Davidson to pick him up. And he just out-jumps you in the block.
Nelson Bochiedum. Brajkovic, offensive rebound. And somehow gets it over his head now back out to Grady. Grady, count the basket, and is fouled going off the opposite leg. He's going to head to the line for a chance for a three-point play as Evans picks up his third. John Axel Goodmanson went out of the game with 10:57 to go second half, and since then it's been a 9-2 run by the Wildcats. They have not led tonight. Their largest deficit has been 20 points, so they've been down as many as 20. Let's see what happens here with free throws for Kellen Grady.
Well, one thing you learn when you play for Coach McKillop is you just never say die. He has been around for a long time, has seen a lot of crazy things. Here comes Davidson in that 2-3 we talked about earlier, just to give them a little rest on the defensive end and give VCU a different look, try to get them out of their comfortable man-to-man offense.
Highland kicks it. Jenkins for three. Got it.
Excellent ball movement, and you have Highland and Jenkins on the same guy, and the back defender on the 2-3 had to make a decision. It was lose-lose.
Grady blocking foul on VCU.
You know, Mike, when you play a zone, the way to attack the zone is make the back guy come out and cover. There you can see right there, Highland's a threat. So when you show the ball, the back guy on that 2-3 has to come out. All of a sudden, Lee, who's in the middle, has to come from the paint to try to get out and contest Jenkins. Jenkins is too good. He'll hit that open three.
They've had this for a while, but it's now shown up on the stat sheet starting this season, the plus-minus. It's a column that when a player's on the court, you know, what's the production and what happens with the score? Well, when Dariante Jenkins has been on the court tonight for VCU, it's a +19 right now. That's the best of any player on the court, primarily because he's stolen the ball tonight 5 times and he's got 12 points.
So by that math, I had the best plus for Davidson when I was sitting on the VCU bench.
Yes,
right? That was the 10-0 run.
You did.
So for that 3 minutes. So that means, again, you're buying dinner.
That's right. Okay.
Because clearly you're in the negative column.
Sure. Crazy enough, on the other side, John Axel Goodmanson, it's a -15 when he's been on the court tonight. You don't see that at all.
He's played every minute, though, so that's that. I like the pressure, the extended pressure by Davidson, just, again, to switch up the tempo. VCU is in a rhythm. Let's do something to disrupt.
Mikel Sims, Marcus Santos Silva, and he's fouled.
He just got too deep in the paint. Rajkovic giving up pounds, giving up physicality. Santos Silva, give him credit, Mike. He just backed him down. They found him right in front of the rim.
Third foul on Rajkovic. And it's back to a double-digit lead. Sports Center comes your way from LA tonight. After Trailblazers and Jazz with Stan and Neil, we'll have our annual Oscar night, looking at the sporting world's best performances. Plus, can Philly end their 4-game losing streak against John Morant and the Grizzlies? And we got a UFC 247 preview, reactions from the weigh-in, all that and more coming up tonight. Sports Center after the NBA on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Made free throws is the worst option you have playing against VCU, because here they come. You know the pressure's coming, and I guarantee you the trap is coming next.
First points in over 12 minutes for Marcus Santos Silva, who heads back to the bench. Both teams pretty darn good at the free throw line tonight. Combined 27-30. Bones Highland with his first foul.
As good as Bones Highland is right now, may Michael be the best offensive player for Coach Rhodes. He's still learning as a freshman on defensive end. You have to, young players out there, you have to sit down in your defensive stance. When you get vertical against a great on-the-ball straight-line driver like Axel Goodmanson, you're going to get beat.
Well, he told us today, he's going to get in the weight room. He's going to put on a few pounds, and also you got to work on the defensive end too, right? That's it. Everybody, as a player that comes to VCU, you know, you want to be offensive too, but if you got to come here, you got to be playing good defense.
He plays with a great cachet and unbelievable confidence for a freshman, but on this team and this program, you start on the defensive end.
Evans hits a 3-ball.
They have so many weapons, and you just don't know when the next one's going to strike.
More scorers just kind of on the court, right, if you will, for VCU at any given point.
Well, it's in and out basketball, and they shoot and step into the threes with confidence, and then they crash the offensive glass.
Grady on the lefty hook.
That was nice. I mean, and that is getting your own shot. That's getting buckets when you can come across the lane and do a little runner with your left hand.
This is what the tough thing about it is when you come to VCU. If you get on a run, it's like, where are you at the point of that run? Are you down by 15? Are you down by 20? And that's what's happened a little bit tonight with Davidson. They've been down by so much that you get on a run and you're still trailing.
Yeah, you get in that deep hole and you have to exert so much energy against this defense. You have to be well-conditioned to make the ultimate run.
And Evans draws the foul. Hyunjun Lee with his third for Davidson. Marcus Evans, you talked about him at the start, Mark, when he was awarded the game ball for his 2000th point a couple games ago from the combination of at Rice, where he came in basically with Mike Rhodes when Rhodes was at Rice for 3 years, became the head coach here at VCU, and the guy that tore his Achilles, he had to sit out. And he's battled through some injuries, and there's no doubt, fifth-year guy, and they love his effort and what he's done here in his final season now this year for VCU.
He's had an up and down season. I think if you asked him, how would you rate your season coming into February, not as consistent that he won. But as we mentioned earlier, when he plays well, the whole team lifts like an incoming tide. All boats will rise with that incoming tide, and he just leads them to victory.
Grady right to the hole. Nobody picked him up, and we're back to a 10-point game.
Attack the pressure. Do not back up. Do not go sideways. Attack north and south. Great job by Grady.
And it happened fast, too. That's the thing. Haven't had too many of those tonight from Davidson. And Evans does it again. He's counter-acting every play made by the Wildcats.
And he's getting to the paint. He's made a couple of threes. He's 3 for 5 from behind the arc. So they're pushing up on him, running him off that three-point line, and he's comfortably taking it to the paint.
And all of a sudden, he's got 17 points. Grady again, right back at him. Van is down for VCU. He's going to try to shake it off as Evans has scored the last 7 points for the Rams tonight.
I'm looking out here, Mike. Kellen Grady is holding and massaging his left calf. That's a cramp, and that happens when your body's not used to running at the pressure in fifth gear for 40 minutes. It breaks down. You can say you're not hydrated, but you are. You just don't push yourself this hard against the VCU defense.
He hasn't had much of a rest tonight for sure. 4.5 to go. 10-point game. Is it Evans again? Ball got knocked away. It's loose, and Davidson's got it. Bates-Jones coming up with it.
It's a big possession, Mike. Going to the 4-minute timeout. Get it underneath 10 minutes. Underneath 10 points.
And they do for right now as Grady hits a 3. And a timeout by VCU. Coach Rhodes less than thrilled as he walks all the way onto the court. And with 4:08 to go, as you said, it's a 7-point each team, Duke, North Carolina. And speaking of the Blue Devils, there's former Duke standout Daniel Jones, now the New York Giants quarterback, of course, in his rookie season this past year, over 3,000 yards passing and 24 touchdowns, a franchise record for completions by a rookie, and he's here to watch this guy, his younger brother, Bates-Jones, who plays for Davidson. And his sister Becca played field hockey at Davidson as well. So Daniel in the house is behind their bench and hoping to see if the Wildcats can pull off the upset here tonight as they're within 7. Sims for 3, and that's an air ball. And here we go, Mark. All right, Davidson.
That was the exact pass that Coach Rhodes wanted, but Sims did not jump behind the ball. Mike, when that ball comes from the inside, outside, move your feet, get behind the ball. He reached 3 feet out, brought the ball in. The result, the air ball, speaks for itself.
John Axel Goodmanson is back in for Davidson. Hyunjun Lee is going to check into the next whistle. Grady and Lee have combined for 29 of their last 31 points. This is John Axel for 3, and it's off. Rebounded by Jenkins.
Boy, he and I thought that was nothing but net. That looked good from our angle.
We were right behind it, too. He was out from deep. Evans. Sims for 3. Yes.
Much better job by Davidson covering the high ball screen. Weak side help came into the lane. Great skip pass for the open 3. Better offense by VCU.
Might be coming back to that one with just over 3 minutes to go. That pushes the lead back up to double figures. And the fans start to get into it again.
Look how far out Davidson has to start their offense when VCU properly pushes up.
And that's a wild shot for 3 by Grady. Off balance rebound, Marcus Santos Silva.
Defense can lead the offense with the pick 6, the live ball turnovers, but this leads to an extra possession. That was an outstanding get up and pressure the basketball defensive set.
Jenkins, wide open is Evans, and he missed it. But Marcus Santos Silva, and he missed it as well. And Grady has it, 2 from point-blank range.
Mike was out there teaching the VCU Rams how to shoot layups today, folks.
Yeah, pretty much. Timeout Davidson.
The possession before, VCU has had high ball screen success tonight, Mike. So Davidson says, I'm not going to let you hit the roll man. I'm going to come in and watch the weak side. Oh, wait, Santos Silva is in. Oh, no, wait, there's a guy over here. Yeah, Mr. Sims says, I'm not going to throw up 2 air balls. You better come out and cover me. Excellent decision-making by VCU on the offensive end.
2 minutes and 10 seconds left. Davidson with the timeout. They have the possession. Now what are you thinking here? Because it's been all Lee and Grady, but they bring John Axel Goodmanson back into the lineup. And of course, it's been an off night for him, but you got to have him out there. What are you looking for in this possession, you think, here?
I think you have to extend your pressure if you're Davidson. You have to come out and try to trap the basketball, bring a little pressure into VCU. They've been giving it to you all night long. But on offense, when you have the ball right now, get to the rim. A couple of good times that Grady has gotten to the rim. Axel Goodmanson gotten to the rim. Don't sit for the 3.
Lee trying to do that, but he pinned it in his body. Are they going to call it offensive or a travel? Let's see. It is an offensive foul. Pushing off, his 4th.
I think you're right, Mike. They could have called either one. I mean, just, again, take it all the way to the paint. The freshman will learn. Once you get a step on this defense, you can't stop. You can never retreat.
Under 2 minutes to go. VCU in no hurry.
Well, that's the beauty of having Marcus Evans.
Right.
With the basketball. It's almost as if Michael Rhodes is handling the basketball. He's the coach on the floor.
Shot clock at 5. 3 in the corner. There was Sims falling down.
That's VCU saying, I'm going to take 30 seconds because I have a 10-point lead. Now let's see if you can score.
Grady got it.
Got to the rim. Now let's try to get the ball, extend that pressure. They have to start taking chances and try to create an extra possession.
Well, yeah, because here you go again. VCU can run another 30 seconds off. They're not going to foul right now, so they can take it down to 45 seconds.
How do you let Santos Silva pass the basketball? He's shooting 55% from the foul line.
Jenkins didn't know where he wanted to go with it. Santos Silva is bailed out and fouled.
They had the opportunity. Again, that's the difference between a young team and a veteran team. You know who you cannot foul, and you know who, in time of need, you want to foul. Santos Silva also knowing he shouldn't be at the foul line. That was like a hot potato. He touched it and reversed as soon as he could.
This could push the lead back up to 10. Huge game here tonight for VCU, trying to make sure that they're back solidified in the conversation in the NCAA tournament. I mean, we believe they are. I mean, you look at it, they're in the top 40 in the net. And the BPI, they're at 38, actually above Rhode Island. And of course, Joe Lenardi's got Rhode Island and Dayton comfortably in. I mean, like you said, you think about it, you got VCU, Rhode Island, Dayton, and there's still a possible couple other teams, too, that have chances, come tournament time in this conference in the Atlantic 10.
Yeah, again, they have kind of the destiny in their own hands. Dayton home at St. Louis, Duquesne, back at Davidson. Those are all good wins. Obviously, if you can beat Dayton, it's a great win.
Grady dishes it. Brajkovic, she's fouled. And that's going to be it for Santos Silva. That's his 5th tonight.
Didn't need to follow down with his arms. Brajkovic was already leaning back. He wasn't trying to draw the foul, draw the contact. Just go up, wall up. If you're a big guy, Mike, just wall up and put your hands behind your head and make him make that contested shot.
Fouled out. 8 points. He was a perfect 4 for 4 at the foul line. What about coming up tomorrow? The Atlantic 10, here's a look at your game. Starts at noon with Rhode Island and George Washington. How about that St. Louis and Dayton matchup?
Yeah, we did the first game at St. Louis. What a barn burner that was. Crutcher with a game-winning 3-point shot. I mean, look, if St. Louis can make baskets, if they can score points, they can play with anybody because that front line is as physical as anyone in college basketball.
And the school right across town, the Richmond Spiders, right here in Richmond, of course, on ESPN Plus. Tomorrow they take it on Fordham. That's another wild card team. I mean, you love the Richmond Spiders in their group that is all underclassmen. They've dealt with an injury, but I think they could be right there at the end, too.
Having a great season. And again, their schedule coming down February and into early March is very favorable. You know, you beat a couple of top teams, VCU, URI, and of course Dayton. You know, Richmond can easily, they're one of the teams we talked about earlier, Mike, that could win the A-10 tournament at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Sims couldn't quite get it over, but he finally did. He got tipped. Here's Jenkins. Tries to go up with a dunk, and he got hit. No, the ball is up and in, and he's fouled. You can't draw that one up.
Well, Bate Jones, the brother of your New York Giants quarterback, says, "I don't think so, Mr. Jenkins." And just, ball ends up in the right place, Mike. Throw it high off the glass. I mean, that is deflating. What a rim protect by Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. What a block is right as his brother Daniel Jones looks on. New York Giants quarterback in the house here tonight. And his brother did a great job there, except the wild scooping up and in with Jenkins in the foul.
He's texting home, Mom, that was clean.
Yeah.
That was, he looked great, Mom.
Grady doesn't go. There's a foul called. But and you think about, too, just back to the overall conference here for a moment as VCU is going to hang on and win this here. Think about some of the non-conference wins that they've had, too. Knocking off LSU, ranked team right here, and the return from Will Wade to this place, and that was a big win for them. I mean, overall, this conference has been outstanding with the non-conference as well. Some really good records for these teams.
Yeah, the resume looks good. A very tight loss to Purdue by 3 points early in the season. That's why Joey Lunardi has VCU right on that bubble, and as we mentioned, Mike Rhodes knows February is his time to shine. The schedule allows him to have some big wins and get ready for March. We talked to Bob McKillop earlier, and we asked him what does he try to improve on his team. Just like Coach Rhodes, we want to be better in March than we are today in February.
There's a lot of talent. The Atlantic 10 is one of only 3 conferences with 6 or more teams with 16-plus wins. It's been tough to win here at home. The top half of the league, almost a 90% winning percentage. And it's going to hold up here tonight, you would think, as Grady makes it a 9-point game.
That really is unbelievable. 6 teams with 16-plus wins in the A-10. Hey, folks, the ACC had 3.
Right.
The SEC, 3. I mean, this A-10 conference is a battle this year.
Evans, they're going to call it a foul. Yeah, you said it with Grady there. Just trying to shake out that right calf.
You go in 5th gear for 40 minutes. You don't do that in practice, especially in February when the coaches are trying to, preserve the body. And, he goes all out. And he's had a tremendous second half. And the Cavs are saying, you're done. I need some hydration.
I mean, he sat for less than 2 minutes in this game tonight. He's played almost the entire ball game. Marcus Evans.
I just wish, your voice would cramp up once in a while and you could let me get a comment in here every once in a while. It's not the same over here behind the mic because you go 110% every game, but you never cramp up.
Well, we've got extended coverage here tonight. No, it's almost at the conclusion. We were thinking about maybe a post-game interview, but we're going to be right up to the top here with VCU's win here from the Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia. An 11-point game as Grady launches a long 3. Doesn't go. Rebound Sims. That is going to do it. And in front of the 148th consecutive sellout from the Siegel Center in Richmond, VCU wins it 73-62 over Davidson tonight.
Mike Rhodes came out with a simple game plan. Create havoc on defense. Let's come with a pressure and create an atmosphere to make them uncomfortable. And let's keep the ball out of Axel Goodmanson's hands. Well done, VCU.
19 points for Marcus Evans.